Well, we certainly cherish these beautiful videos, don't we?
Nope.
Now, with that in mind, would you like to know what is happening at the Ramapo site, as well as the video production in Australasia? Let's give our attention. That's okay. You can clap if you want.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I swear if this guy was doing a stand-up comedy routine, he would be like, you know, you're at a comedy club. It's okay to laugh. Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and today we are looking at some new updates from the annual meeting about some of the construction projects. Now, personally, I find this absolutely fascinating. It's like a guilty pleasure of mine, like following Will and Jada Smith and their goofy relationship.
Bad marriage for life.
It's the same thing when it comes to Watchtower's building projects, because they have, for the last 100 and odd something years, been telling the world, the end is right around the corner, the end is nigh. And yet at the same time, they're doing all of these hundreds of millions of dollar buildings for like studios to make movies and stuff. It's absolutely baffling why they're doing it. So I always enjoy getting an update on what their building projects are like. But before we get into it, don't forget to drop a like on the video. It helps it get out to more people on YouTube and is very much appreciated. Also, subscribe to the channel if you do want that 27% buff to all of your friendships and, may I say, maybe relationships as well. With all of that being said, let's do this. Now the question is, do I feel like taking off my glasses or not?
Your grandma called. She wants her glasses back.
I'm glad you indicated you want to hear this. Well, Jehovah lovingly controls the movements of his organization to accomplish his will and purpose. No wonder Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 18 describes the rims of the wheels of the chariot as having eyes all around. All-seeing Jehovah directs everything. Well, what is the speed of Jehovah's chariot? Absalom's chariot may have been able to reach speeds up to 45 miles an hour, the speed of a racehorse. But what about Jehovah's chariot? Well, in the Bible, verse 14, chapter 1, it describes its movements in comparison with flashes of lightning.
I don't understand the words you just said.
For anyone that doesn't know, the chariot that he's describing, I did cut out a fair bit of this talk, is the organization as Watchtower sees it. So they think that the Watchtower and Bible Tract Society of Pennsylvania is this celestial chariot spoken about in Ezekiel. And it doesn't really make a lot of sense, honestly, if you were to read these passages in 2023. I think multiple days of Congress would be caught up because they would be doing an investigation if they were extraterrestrials. But Watchtower seems to take these things seriously. Whatever, it's neither here nor there. But I do find it interesting in how confident he is when he's saying, no, Jehovah is the one that is guiding this chariot or the organization. Because, as we already know from what we've heard from the annual meeting, they seem to be a little bit, well, sometimes we might get things wrong. Well, does that mean Jehovah was just like drunk at the wheel when he was trying to guide the chariot? Did he hit like the full Rick and Morty and he's just like crashing into things because he's passed out? Like, does he just decide not to guide the chariot sometimes? I do find it hilarious that in this annual meeting, there are so many inconsistencies and things that just contradict. Sometimes even within the same talk, the governing body members are contradicting each other, and I find it absolutely hilarious.
Now, a flash of lightning travels at 186,000 miles per second, the speed of light.
Oh, hell no!
But if we think about it, Jehovah's chariot's a lot faster than that. In fact, we could say it travels at the speed of thought, at the speed of Jehovah's thought. And obviously, that would be immeasurably fast.
This is just a bunch of hogwash because the organization doesn't move at the speed of some supernatural, superhuman thoughts. It moves at the speed of death. And what I mean by that is when a sufficient number of governing body members either die or, like Tony Morris, they get kicked out or resign, whatever the case might be with that whole situation, then the organization can make changes because they have a new crop of people that have more influence and they can take the organization in a different direction. So no, the organization doesn't move at the speed of lightning or thought. It moves at the speed of death or resigning or getting kicked out because this is just a man-made organization. Anyway, let's hear what's going on in old Ramapo.
Now, you probably recall that it's being built on property that the organization already owned. And it's conveniently located only 2 miles from our world headquarters facility at Warwick. And a very interesting side point, the governing body tried for several years really hard to sell this property with absolutely no results. Then we came to realize this is ideal property to build a much-needed facility that can consolidate onto one site the functions currently being done on many different properties, one site to produce our audio, video, and beautiful artwork. So just another example of Jehovah's eyes seeing things.
So if God is using you to direct his organization, then why were you guys trying to sell the property? It seems like if God was using you, he would have inspired you to hold on to it and just not think about it too much. But if you were actively trying to sell it, that means you were wasting time. You were wasting valuable resources trying to sell this property. I don't know if this guy hears himself, because anyone with at least 17 active brain cells would see right through this and ask themselves, wait, why were you guys trying to sell it if God wanted to keep it all along? That's not evidence that God was blessing you. That's evidence that you guys are a bunch of bumbling buffoons.
Must be an on button somewhere. Press the Apple thing.
The specific purpose of the Ramapo project is to bring all media facilities under one roof.
As a project begins, we always want things to move fast, but sometimes the reality is that it doesn't happen as fast as we would like it to.
It's been several years of some pretty dynamic planning, and we've seen a lot of twists and turns and changes along the way.
We've had a number of challenges on the Ramapo project. In the state of New York, there's only a certain season where you can take trees down.
We're only allowed to remove trees between November and the end of March.
And the town board approved the special permit for us to be able to cut the trees. However, when we went to exercise that permit, we realized that another agency still had to give their permission for us to be able to use it, which we didn't get.
Originally, we had planned about 12 weeks to do all of this work.
And that 12 weeks included using mechanized equipment.
If that wasn't accomplished, we would be waiting an entire year to be able to cut those trees. Well, the window started closing from 12 weeks to 8 weeks, all the way down to 6 weeks.
And then somehow something in the permitting language opened our eyes to a new possibility that allowed us to take the trees down in a different way.
And somehow, some way, boy howdy, we were able to cut down the trees. Brother, this is called exploiting a loophole. It's nothing more than that. You found a way to weasel your way through whatever laws or codes were in place and cut down some trees. Stop trying to make this seem like it's this, oh man, somehow, some way, I don't know. This was lawyers doing lawyer things, and that's it. It's not anything involving a supernatural power saying, okay, well, I'm going to wave my magic wand and boom, Patronus. You get to cut down trees. Stop it.
Stop it. Get some help.
Because of some of the delays that we experienced, there was a need to reassign some of our brothers and sisters within the organization.
We had these willing volunteers. They were skilled, they were trained, they were willing to do whatever was needed, but we just didn't have the work for them at the time. We were able to communicate with different departments in the branch, at headquarters, and it just so happened that many of these departments had been praying for additional help.
The brothers had a meeting with us and they said, we know you're not 100% busy like you want to be. We'll be giving a number of you new assignments. Most of you, you'll go out for a while we get our permits and come back.
They said that I would be going into CDE, and I didn't even know what that was. Computer Department Engineering. And I thought, that's way above me. I'm a construction girl. But actually, I've loved it. I've learned so much. And the team that I've worked with, I've gotten close to them. And it's been a wonderful change. It's really shown us that Jehovah's going to take care of us.
This is particularly annoying just because I was a Jehovah's Witness during the infamous Bethel layoffs, and during that time, it was the wild, wild west. You had no idea where Watchtower was going to send you, if they were going to help you, if you were going to stay, if you were going to leave, and a lot of people, even older people, found themselves on the street with no work experience, no housing to speak of, no retirement, no family, nothing. And I know I've given this example before, and it was around the same time period. I can't remember exactly if it was the same, but it was around that same time. There was a district overseer who was in his 80s, and I remember I saw him after I had left the organization, and he was working at Costco. And he was in his 80s, and it was the only thing he could find that was able to have full medical benefits for his wife, who was very sick. And it just made me so sad to see Watchtower throw these people out on the street like a bunch of garbage. And they said, yeah, thanks for your decades of service, but now here in your 80s, go have fun standing and selling samples of hot dogs, so that way your wife has medical care. It's absolutely despicable that this organization does this to people, and yet in their little propaganda videos, they are showing people say, oh, we always knew Jehovah would take care of us. Yeah, right. Yeah, right. It's maddening. So if you're a Jehovah's Witness and you happen to be watching this video, just know Watchtower will not take care of you. And when these people age out and they are no longer useful to the organization, guess what? You're on your own from here.
It's a state-of-the-art audio, video, and art production facility. The process of designing that and getting it to stay ahead of not only the ever-changing technologies that we see in the industry, but also the needs for the organization. It's a dynamic process.
The facility has been designed and will be constructed in such a way that if modifications need to be made later to keep up with technology, we won't have to deconstruct the building in order to implement those changes. We've developed beautiful studios that will be functional not only now, but also for future projects.
One exciting feature of the Media Center will be the use of video walls for virtual production. In fact, we've already begun filming with this new technology here at Patterson. With these video walls, we can create digitally backgrounds that can be used to give the appearance that we are shooting it in a foreign location.
The governing body made it very clear that their focus was the spirituality of those who are involved in our productions. If the friends have to be off-site for long periods of time filming, it can really disrupt their spiritual routine. Virtual production will allow us to reduce the need to travel or to even work hours that could interfere with spiritual activities. There's some circumstances that arise that can sometimes limit our ability to travel to another location, but with the use of the video wall, we won't be stopped. Video production will continue in the studio.
Now we'll be able to custom make some backgrounds that actually look like Bible lands.
And we're very confident, with Jehovah's blessing, that this new state-of-the-art facility will result in tremendous savings, efficiency, as we continue to produce beautiful video artwork to the benefit of the brotherhood. But now that video that you saw was actually a while back, a little time ago. We have some late-breaking news events to share with you since then. When you saw in the video the trees cut down, they were just lying haphazardly, weren't they? With snow on the top. But since then, contractors have been very busy removing the trees, taking them out, clearing the site in preparation for other work that will come, and all of this preceding this huge construction project that is looming just ahead.
Gotcha! If there was ever a sign that the old guard of the governing body is getting moved to a more irrelevant place, oh, it's this right here. Oh man, we just watched that video but that was old. I got some exciting news for you guys. You know those trees? We've moved them. And the crowd goes wild. It's like he's actually pranking people. It's legitimately like he's trying to prank people and being like, oh, would you guys like to hear this exciting update? Oh, buckle down. Those trees you saw? We've been moving them. Oh, holy moly. This is absolutely nonsensical. But there is one of the major points from this whole talk that I do want to get into, and it's the reason I even wanted to make this video in the first place. So let's get into it.
And all of this work and investment is not just for one convention drama. In fact, this production sets us up for convention dramas for years to come in the future. And you're going to truly enjoy them as they're rolled out. But some might ask, why are we embarking on two projects like this when the New World is so close? We might not even finish one of them. The end may come. Well, we just don't know, do we? We don't know exactly when the end is going to come. Here's an illustration. How many carefully selected smooth stones did David take out when he went to fight Goliath? He took 5, didn't he? How many did he need? 1. He just didn't know, did he? So he was prepared, whatever it took. Well, the same way, we don't know when the end is going to come. Now, here's another thought, food for thought. Could not these projects, if needed, be finished after the Great Tribulation and then used powerfully in the New World? And thinking of the Good News According to Jesus episodes, would they not be wonderful tools to teach resurrected ones about God's Son? Well, only Jehovah knows. Time will tell. But what did the Watchtower say some years ago about the activity of Jehovah's people right when the end would come? Here's what it said. Let me read you this quote. It said, "The arrival of the Lord Jesus to execute judgment will come at a complete surprise, even to Jehovah's people, for it will no doubt find them at their busiest time of activity." So we're going to be surprised. We're going to be very busy when the end comes. And we say if the end comes before we finish either one of these projects, then we say hallelujah.
Let's just say, for instance, that their narrative of the end is right around the corner is true. Well, a question that people logically ask is, well, why are you guys doing all of this building? Why do we need these new facilities? They're like, well, we might use these in the new system. Are you dumb as a rock? It would require a spectacular amount of brain rot to buy into this. Because if the end is right around the corner and you want to use any facilities in the world for producing movies, guess what? You could just use the movie studios that already exist all around the world. You have the best facilities available that Satan's system has already built. God could just direct some fireballs away from those and bada bing, bada boom, you're in there. You don't need to do this. And in the meantime, I reckon it's cheaper to just, if this is going to cost $150-200 million, I can't imagine with the level of production that they have and the end product that they're giving people, that these are if they're going to make 200 of these episodes that each cost $1 million each. I cannot envision a scenario where that happens. So you're just wasting money. You could just commission a studio to do it, and then when the fireballs all come down, you can just move into Hollywood and start making your movies there. I don't know. Well, we need to get training. At that point, though, when you're talking about such supernatural nonsense, like Jesus could come down and just boop you on the nose, and now you know how to use every editing software and sound equipment and cameras, and it wouldn't be that difficult. It's a lot less ridiculous to go down that route than it is to think, oh no, God wants us to build these movie studios in upstate New York, so that way we can make movies, and hey, we're going to be using these even into the new system. That is the dumbest response to ordinary Jehovah's Witnesses coming at the organization and saying, hey, if you don't want me to plan for my future, why are you planning for your future? If I was a Jehovah's Witness, I would say, cool, well, hey, if I want to build my house now, then maybe I'll use that house in the new system. Everyone can say that. Oh, well, you really shouldn't get an education. Yeah, but what if I can use that education in the new system? So if you're a Jehovah's Witness watching this, just remember, if the elders ever try and harass you for not doing enough for the organization, not giving enough, just say, hey, but I could use these skills in the new world. And boy, howdy, you get to use the exact same excuse as the governing body, so they can't say shit about it. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. If you're still around, don't forget to drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. With all of that being said, stay safe, be kind, and don't forget to smile. Oh yeah, have a good ass day.